Action.
There it is. Welcome. You might gonna add some behind the scenes footage, so who knows what you done saw already. But now we getting started. This right here, Mathis, GDash Jones, my guy. How you feeling, bro?
Feeling great. Just got back from the studio. Was out in the studio, Retro City Sounds yesterday. And I had the studio for a whole day. And I recorded a new single. And I also laid down some like little performances of some songs I already had out.
Wow.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do with that?
So that song, it's called Hello My Friend.
Yeah.
And that tune is actually gonna be released before Mind Parade comes out. Before the actual like release of Mind Parade.
So let's back up. But the footage that you recorded, the things you recorded of the previous songs, what are you gonna do with those?
So I'm actually making a vlog out of the whole day. So I had my amazing videographer come with me. His name's Bugsy, and he literally videoed the whole day. He captured all of like the coolest moments, and he's actually editing it all right now. We're piecing it all together. I'm making a music video out of it. I'm making a long vlog, and also some live performances. So that's really cool. We're doing some live performances. We're really cooking it up right now.
Love this.
Yeah, it was a great day yesterday. Got to work with some incredible people.
Well, I want to back all the way up, right? Because I want to lead us to the Mind Parade, if you will.
Yeah.
With that said, so when I say I want to lead us to the Mind Parade, before we got there, but now I gotta ask, your first album, very first. Let's go.
Oh, okay. So my very first album, I did take that down. I did. That was my very first album. So rewind to 2019. That was when I started doing music full time.
Pre-COVID Ty. A year before COVID is when Mathis starts this thing.
My actual that was when I started doing music full time. So I went from doing lawn care every day, and then I was like, okay, I'm doing a good job at this. Let me take my work ethic from this and apply it to music. And then I did that, and right off the bat, I just started I was already sitting on a lot of songs, so I went to some really nice studios, recorded them, released them, and then I just cringed. So I was like, okay, I'm going back to the drawing board. And then fast forward to 2020, that's when I released my very first EP. I consider that my first. That was Change of Weather. And Change of Weather I recorded in New York City during the height of COVID. There was no one there. There were 7 people walking through Times Square. It was so crazy. It was eerie. And but I felt like I had the whole city to myself. And we laid everything down in one day, and then I went to another studio after that, and I listened back to it, and I was like, wow, I really like this. I got a lot better since the first record.
Yes.
So that was the first one I did take down, because I just I learned so much. Even by the time I listened to it, from when I recorded it and to listen to it was just a month or so, and I was like, man, I would change so much about it, so.
What's the biggest lesson you've learned since that first album? What's the biggest lesson you've learned since that first album?
Well, I would really have to say, really trust yourself. Really trust your judgment. I really liked it. When the feeling's right, trust it. Don't get in your head. Don't worry about what anyone else thinks about it. Just trust. If it feels right and it gives you goosebumps, do it. But if it's something off that needs to be fixed, you're already at a good place. If the song already gives you goosebumps, it already makes you feel good, just practice it and then re-record it. Don't be my biggest thing, I think, is not being afraid to start from scratch. Mind Parade took so long because I was
how long did it take?
2 years. 2 years. Yeah, I was actually working on Mind Parade.
2 years?
Yeah, 2 years. So,
since Rising?
Yeah, Rising I released in 23, and even when that was when it came out, I was already writing Mind Parade. Right. Yeah, and I was by the end of 2023, I was sitting on 26 songs, and I had to condense that down. And as I started condensing it and finding what songs I really liked the most, that I really wanted to follow through with, it all just started like coming together, and the whole concept was revealed, and like I thought I knew what the album was about. So I think like the biggest thing is keeping an open mind. I think that would be the best thing that I learned.
Was your mind closed first, and now it's wide open?
It wasn't closed, but it was like more or less like, okay, this is the demo, this is how it has to be done. Nowadays I like pretty much we'll do dozens of demos and just trying it out every way it can possibly be, just to really keep an open mind with it, you know, and because it feels good knowing that like once I release it, I know I did my absolute best with it. I tried it every way, because as a musician, I listen to songs and I'm like, well, what if it did this? What if it did this? And since I play like drums, bass, guitar, keyboard, and sing, I have the ability to just work them out. Be like, and sometimes I'm like, okay, I tried it, I don't like it. But sometimes it's like, I tried it, I like this part, I don't like the other part, so let me incorporate the part I like, and then add that to the song, and then maybe the song changes up a little bit. And then, for instance, with Summer Daydream, I had 2 weeks to record that, because my deadline to release it, or the drop date was the first day of summer. Okay. And I've been touring that one on the road for so long, so it evolved so much. And that's essentially what I took into the studio. But even though you think you know the song, sometimes you don't know it as well as you should. So you get into the studio and all those little things start to reveal themselves, and then you're like, okay, let me focus on doing the best performance of this I can in the studio. You know, so it all just comes from wanting to make it the best and the most timeless. And I think that like just having an open mind with it allows you to get there earlier, as opposed to being stuck in your ways.
This is my art, right? I'm coming out with this thing, right? The first time that you came out with, it was new for you. All of this was new. It was a wide open landscape.
That was my first time in a recording studio.
Right. And then since then you've had full albums that you've done yourself recorded, and then you went to places and recorded, and now you're using all of that knowledge for this. Does the pressure change for the artistry?
Does the pressure change? I think it's relative to where I'm at. You know, I think it's like always the same. It all depends on my how eager I am and how hungry I am. But like for the past 5 years, I've been like just so hungry for it. Like it gets me up early in the morning and I work all night. Like it's one of those things where like the music really is my truth, and it's like my just ultimate. I get so much satisfaction from it.
Wow.
So, you know, the pressure is like, it's just pressure that I put on myself to get stuff done. And, you know, the bigger the dreams you have and like the more expensive things are, the more harder you have, the more pressure there is to make that happen in a shorter amount of time. And then you still have all the regular basic things you have to do every day.
Yeah.
You know, human things. So I try to get all that done early in the day, and then I have all the rest of the day to get done all the stuff I really need to get done. And then I get done all the stuff I really want to do, which is playing the music and doing that. But like booking the studios and like doing all that stuff, like that's just stuff I've always wanted to do.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
The admin?
Yeah. Oh no, not booking. No. No, that's funny. No,
I love making these phone calls. They're phenomenal.
No. That's certainly not. No. The going to the studio is no. Right. Hopefully, I'll have somebody that can handle all that for me in the future. Because you know, like booking is, it's like one of those things where it's so time consuming. You know, like sending emails out and doing all that. And when you're an independent artist, you kind of have to regulate yourself each day. Be like, okay, what is this day gonna be? Deep work, like emails, getting opportuniunities, uploading my music, editing videos, or is it gonna be a creative day? I have to make those distinctions with myself.
Wow.
Because if I don't do that, then it's easy to like just get lost. You know, you have to be so like direct when you're your own boss, especially with music, because it has to be treated like with my work ethic, I have to like treat it with so much care. I have to give it human parentage 24/7. You know, I have to practice. I have to run my songs. Sometimes I have to run a certain song like 30 minutes just to get the vocals just right, you know, just so I have that like muscle memory of doing it the right way, so that when I perform it I can have more fun with it, you know.
Yes. And now this brings me to
and all that lays a solid foundation every day, you know, and you just keep moving forward and it just keeps compounding, and eventually you look back and you're like, wow, I'm glad I kept doing all this, because it allows you to express yourself in a more free way.
The process was built.
It was.
And evolved. Like, how has the process of song creation evolved for you?
How has it evolved?
Yes, we're at Mind Parade, baby.
We are at Mind Parade.
Mind Parade, baby. Listen to how you're talking. You're like, yeah, and then this many hours and that many hours. I'm like, oh, look, he's...
Yeah. No, it's so... How has a song, like, creation changed? You know, the one thing about writing songs is that it can be different every time.
Really?
Or it can be the same for a little bit of time. Yeah, it's so weird. Like, it's so vast. Like, a song can come to you at any moment. Like, I always have ideas.
Right.
Sometimes I'm, like, not as receptive to those ideas because I know that I have to focus on what I'm currently working on. Mm-hmm. But when I want to write a song, I deliberately choose time. I'm like, okay, I want to have a nice vibe right now. I just start with the vibe first. It's all about the experience, you know? Start with that, and then from there, then I'll think of like, what do I want to write it about? I try to be like intentional with it, you know? Before I would just sort of let music come to me, but now I have so many ideas on the guitar, always coming up with ideas, and I think the lyrics are always the one thing that I need to come up with. So, but one thing I do is, when I come up with cool phrases, I just jot them down in like a composition book, and then when I do want to write a song, all those phrases are sitting there. So that's how I come up with stuff. Yeah, and that's how I came up with the album name for Mind Parade. I actually just had it like jotted down on a piece of paper, and I was like, I saw it and I was like, what if my album was called Mind Parade? And then I started just strumming my guitar to a like progression that I was kind of working with the past few days when I wrote it, and the vibe was right, the feeling was right, the energy was right, all those components just were so aligned and just allowed all the lyrics to flow. And the title track Mind Parade was literally written in like 10 minutes. Like, it was just so quick, and it wasn't even something that I was intentionally trying to do. I just knew I had to come up with an album name for the song or for the album, and then I was like, well, if I name it Mind Parade, there has to be a song called Mind Parade, you know.
So where that term Mind Parade even?
Mind Parade, I sort of gave it meaning. So the whole idea of the album is about living the best day of your life. And you're having this joyful, blissful time. It's like just heavenly, heaven on earth. Everything's going your way, and you're just unstoppable. You know, you just believe in only the best stuff. You're feeling great. Everything's synchronistic. All the things you ever dreamt of are coming to you and happening to you. All of that. But then, like, your fear and your doubt starts kicking in, because everyone has that stuff, you know? And that, you come to the point where you have to let go of all that. You have a decision. Do you have a taste of this life now? Do you want to move forward, or do you want to go back? So the album is sort of based around that story. And Mind Parade is sort of like a term that I feel like encapsulates that whole concept of just like, just taking on a whole new tone and just rocking with it, just rolling with it, just watching it roll, you know, just letting go of the stuff you didn't need, and then sort of looking back on it, being like, wow, I would have been equally as happy if I just let go of all the bullshit. I don't even need all the stuff I ever dreamt of, you know? I'm free now.
Wow.
So that's kind of the concept of the album.
Okay, now Gotta go back, but not as far. Between Rising and this album, it's been 2 years.
Yeah.
Between Rising and this album, it's been 2 years.
Yeah. A lot has happened in 2 years.
That's where I'm going. So, working its way up to Mind Parade, we have Knee Deep in Love. Boy, you are like that happened. That happened since Rising.
It did. It did. It did. It really did.
It did. 2 Tie Fest.
2 Tie Fest. Yeah,
2 Tie Fest. Well, more than 2 actually, if we're counting all of the satellite shows.
5. Yeah. 5.
All right.
Yeah.
So you know, you've worked with children as well since this time.
Gift Connect. Yeah.
Yes, Gift Connect. Working with youth,
making lullabies.
Yes.
Visiting schools, working with parents, writing lullabies, writing music for really young people, playing lots of cover music. You know, just going through so many phases, and then, you know, I got to a point, and now this point could have happened whenever, but it happened during Mind Parade.
I don't want to forget also touring to a certain extent with Suge and performing with like
with Roots Revival Roadshow. So I started this year out with a pretty big tour where we just like it has nothing to do with the direction that I was really setting out to go to this year, but I knew that if I did that tour, I could learn a lot in a very short amount of time and have beautiful experiences that I'll never forget. You know, I just knew that like getting out there and having the Midwest or touring up and down the East Coast, and I was like, let me try that. You know, let's see how that feels. And it was such a beautiful feeling just going out every day and getting that experience and really giving me a glimpse into it. And the caliber of the venues were so much better than what I was used to. You know, when you get to the green room, they have a binder, and it's filled with menus of all the local restaurants, and they're like, pick whatever you want and we'll buy it for you, and then you eat that, and then you go on stage and they're like, we have tea here, we have this. I'm like, wow, it's just, that was a really beautiful thing to just be able to experience that like every night.
Wow.
You know, so it taught me a lot. You know, I definitely learned a lot, and I kind of, just like with every experience in life, I took the things I liked, and then I kind of saw the qualities I didn't like, and then I thought about ways that I could implement those changes in the future when I do my own tour for Mind Parade.
How did those experiences affect the creation of Mind Parade? How did they pour into?
So by the time I was on tour, I was actually virtually done the album. Well, I thought I was done it. But those experiences definitely gave me some inspiration. You know, I think that like just being out on the road, touring, meeting people, and I think the overall human connection is where a lot of inspiration comes from with music and also adventure and experiencing new things. You know, just feeling so happy and be like, wow, look what I just did. You know, I came back with a new kind of a new perspective, and then a new newfound inspiration from that tour. So I was in mixing and mastering phase when I went on tour.
Wow.
And I got back off a tour, and then I was still in mixing and mastering phase, and I was also sort of like, I was in mixing and mastering phase when I went on tour.
Wow.
And I got back off a tour, and then I was still in mixing and mastering phase, and I was also sort of like changing some of the vocals up, changing some guitar tracks, just things that I felt like needed to be updated a little bit. After like just playing the songs so much, because it wasn't just recording these, I was also playing them a lot and just practicing and finding the best way I could record them and like perform them so that the recording starts as a good performance more than anything, you know, and it's just a good delivery. So I buttoned all that up, and I think I was taking like 2 weeks per song, just mixing and mastering. And then shortly after that, I thought everything was done, so I hired Sterling Sound to master the record. And Sterling Sound they're known as like one of the best in the business.
Legendary. Yeah,
really legendary. And I initially really liked the masters I got back, and it was a pretty penny. It was a lot of money in order to do that, so it was a huge investment for me. But I listened back to it, and I wasn't happy with the mix I did. So I ended up remixing everything And then I actually, during this whole 2 years, as I was saying, a lot has changed. I learned so much about sound engineering and mixing and mastering. So within the past year, ever since I started recording the record, I actually been simultaneously learning about mixing, mastering, and all that. So I was like, I think I'm ready to mix it and master it the way that I want to. I think I'm ready to master it. So
you did it yourself?
I did it myself, yeah.
Wow.
Took a little bit of a loss on the Sterling sound, but I just know it was overall the best move for my artistry, because I just, the slight things in there, even if no one notices them, it's just like, it's just my integrity that I have in my work, you know?
Right. Now I have to, so what you're telling me is, in this time frame, the growth point didn't come from necessarily additions to the artistry as much as additions to the technique.
Technology, artistry, just growing, you know, just also I learned a lot from other artists, you know, sometimes hanging with people that are just a little further than you in their career. You know, you can see the qualities that they have and like how they do things, what they prioritize, and then you can sort of learn from that. You know, so I kind of like take a little inspiration from everyone here and there that I meet, you know.
Okay.
That's a little thing to consider, but also just learning more the new technology, because also when I started recording Mind Parade, it was also when I got my new console. So I got a universal audio console, and that changed my life, and that opened up a whole world of opportunities. And I was like, well, I was asking myself questions. I was like, is this really the way I wanted to record it? Do I want to use this compressor? Do I want to use this preamp? Because now I have like a multitude of things that I can use. But I kind of went crazy with that and then reeled it back in. But by going crazy with it, I just learned so much by using all the different things. And now here I am, and I can say that the full record like brought me to tears. Not just because I was like, just like happy it was done and I felt like I just won a war. Not a war, but you know, just getting through it and like crushing the goals that you set out to on time. A little late, but it's still on time in my eyes. You know, reaching those goals, just being proud that, you know, the feeling of fulfillment you get from completing something from start to finish, and when it took 2 years of your life, you know, and all your blood, sweat, and tears, and all your emotion goes into it, everything you got. Yes. But also just the emotion that the album conveys, and I feel my journey that I've had while writing those songs. I feel the experiences and what Mind Parade meant to me, and like what it still means to me. But it's in the lyrics, like it really brought tears of joy to my eyes, and it also like I genuinely felt immersed in it. Like when you watch a good movie and it brings tears to your eyes because you feel like you're there. Yeah. That's actually how this album sort of made me feel. Really? That's how, and that was my first time ever listening to it from beginning to end, and that was 2 weeks ago. Yeah. Right,
but it was, so the album was written by December.
It was, and I actually started the recording process, like the professional recording process,
in December,
in my basement in early October.
Okay. Yep. Okay. So the recording process of this album has taken about 7-8 months.
Roughly, yeah.
Okay. What was the hardest part about creating this? Art?
The hardest part?
Yeah.
I think the hardest part about creating it was
the hardest part about creating this art?
The hardest part?
Yeah.
I think the hardest part about creating it was I honestly don't know. It's hard to say. You know, I can't say it was easy to make, but like it wasn't really hard. It was more, some things were challenging.
Okay. Like what were some of those challenges?
So the challenges that I ran into were needing to buy new equipment to master it. You know, because the software I had would have worked, but it wouldn't have been what I needed. So running into challenges, being like, oh wait, I need this console, I need this compressor, I need to buy this, and then looking at the price and I'm like, oh shit, so now I gotta work harder. So it's like just pushing through those little limitations and then doing that. I think and then doing that. I think lyrics for me are the one thing that takes me the longest.
Really?
It's like a song like Change of Weather, though. Like Change of Weather took 2 minutes to write. Like that took 2 minutes, and it's the catchiest song I have, and it's the most like disco poppy.
Very
like,
much so.
Yeah, and that song didn't take much time. But like some of them don't. Like there's some, like I said, the title track Mind Parade took like less than 10 minutes to write. But then you start analyzing the lyrics, and you want to make sure it's all grammatical, and you want to make sure it all makes sense. And there's a fine line between, like, I know nothing in life, like, when it comes to art and music, it doesn't really have to make sense. You know, it's all subjective, you know, as long as you're in key and you're in pitch, you're pretty good. But there's a fine line between it being really beautiful and artistic and it being not good. And so I just, like, was balancing on that line, trusting that I was making the right decisions along the way. You know?
That writing aspect of this, and now we're gonna get into it. Now now I'm pulling it up, just in case for those who don't know. I would say when I think of songs like Billion Balloons, what came? Well, the sonics always come first. What's the feeling that someone should have when they're listening to Billion Balloons?
So that song in particular, I remember it was like a really beautiful, dreamy summer night. I wrote it back in 23, and I think it was in like August or something, and it was like 4 a.m, and I've been just doing a long recording session, working on songs, and I had no idea that it was even going to turn into Mind Parade. I was just writing songs that I was really feeling. I'm on my acoustic, and the lyrics come to me, but the feeling of the tuning I was in on the guitar really just took me somewhere, and the lyrics just came to me. And so A Billion Balloons it's a happy song, and it's psychedelic, and it's like makes you feel like you're floating. It kind of makes you feel like you're floating through like a beautiful dream, that vibrant dream, you know. You're just seeing lots of beautiful things, and it's definitely just like one of those tunes that it takes you to a feel-good place. You know, I think that's. Was
that the emotion you felt while creating it?
It was a little different when I first started because it was in a lower tuning, so it was more like it was more mellow and stripped down, but it just turned into it turned into even being more melodic than it started out with. Yeah, there's like a guitar lick that kind of goes through it, and it's very like, it's very much like just playful, and the lyrics are playful, but they're also very truthful, you know. So it kind of mixes in the world of fantasy and reality, and like the urge to move forward.
Yes. Yes. So it's a progressive beauty, essentially.
I like that. Progressive beauty.
I mean, you made the song. Listen, I'm just here for it.
Hey, thank you.
Road of My Love.
The Road of My Love. Yeah, that's pretty much an instrumental track, and it's like a really it's a vibey song, and the lick and the chord progression that's in that on the guitar I came up with last summer. It was actually the last song on the album that I wrote, matter of fact. I kind of just like threw it on, and then it just made so much sense to have it on there. And yeah. That was a big Carpenter beer. Oh, he lives in the hammock. That's wild. But yeah, so Road of My Love is like a really dreamy, vibey instrumental. I don't want to spoil too much of it. It originally had lyrics, but then I realized that the lyrics, I think, there weren't a whole lot of lyrics. So I ended up doing spoken word. It has a spoken word part. And it's one of the songs that, in my opinion, kind of ties in the album a little bit, and it gives the audience and the listener the more direction. It kind of suggests where we're moving forward in the dream or in the album, because it's a concept album.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just want to say I purposely released this album on the 1st of September because I want you to let it brew. Yeah. And I just want to say I purposely released this album on the 1st of September because I want you to let it brew. This whole album was essentially written in the fall of 2023, and it's a very strong, like, beautiful feeling that I get when I hear these songs in that time of the year, and I want to share that feeling with the rest of the world.
It's a fall concept, essentially.
It's a fall concept. It really is. So I really want people to feel that. So I purposely released it. I backed off a little bit. I didn't want it to be like right as fall hits. I want people to digest it. I want them to really get the songs in their head, really feel it, and then by the time like a few weeks moves by, the fall is gonna start. The autumn breeze comes in, and then it's like a nice change. And also, this album just pairs so well with that, and it's kind of the original way. Like, I'm so excited to hear it from beginning to end on a beautiful fall night,
right?
With the breeze blowing and just like that change. Like spring and fall.
A good seltzer.
Probably I know, a nice seltzer.
A nice seltzer, but it feels like like maybe a strawberry seltzer.
Yeah,
like
a
peach.
Strawberry. That's so funny you say strawberry. So I have like a really strong memory, and I can remember like the smallest details of things ever since I was like 2 or 3, and I remember the seltzers I was drinking when I wrote Mime Parade, and I remember I was drinking strawberry and a ginger lime twist.
Wow.
And it's actually pretty cool. It's pretty symbolic because it was one of those days where it was just like a really flow-based day in the studio, and it was so profound for me because I felt like I answered so many questions that I needed to do to move forward on the album and everything. And I'm sitting there and I'm drinking it. I'm like, this is the vibe. And then like every time I had it, it like took me back to that day. And it's like, this is what I was drinking when I made Mime Parade. And then I actually bought some from the store.
A strawberry seltzer.
Yeah,
like
a
peach.
Strawberry. That's so funny you say strawberry. So I have like a really strong memory, and I can remember like the smallest details of things ever since I was like 2 or 3. And I remember the seltzers I was drinking when I wrote Mime Parade, and I remember I was drinking strawberry and a ginger lime twist.
Wow.
And it's actually pretty cool. It's pretty symbolic because it was one of those days where it was just like a really flow-based day in the studio, and it was so profound for me because I felt like I answered so many questions that I needed to do to move forward on the album and everything. And I'm sitting there and I'm drinking it. I'm like, this is the vibe. And then like every time I had it, it like took me back to that day. And it's like, this is what I was drinking when I made Mime Parade. And then I actually bought some from the store a few weeks. Actually, I think it was like last week. The ginger lime twist by Waterloo. It's like my all-time favorite. And it just took me back. And I was like, I can't wait to listen to this album from beginning to end. Sip on one of these and just vibe out.
I want to do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it. Now I'm going to.
So the album's going to pair well with the autumn breeze, and it's also going to pair well with a Waterloo seltzer and a nice, beautiful, breezy fall night.
Yes.
That's how you want to listen to this album for the ultimate satisfaction.
That is interesting. I'm engaged in that. I want that.
I want the best for the people that listen to it. You know, I want the absolute best. So much work has went into it, and it's for a reason. And like,
I'm engaged in that. I want that.
I want the best for the people that listen to it. You know, I want the absolute best. So much work has went into it, and it's for a reason. And like, it's been a really beautiful journey. I can say that this work is I'm proud of it the most. I say this after every album I make. I'm like, oh, this is my best one. But this one is the most timeless. Like, I've never had an album right before I released it where all the songs made me feel deep emotion. They all give me goosebumps. I all feel moved. I hear the voice, my voice, and I hear my guitar playing. I'm like, wow, I did that. I'm proud of that. Like, that's exactly how I wanted to sound. And like that 2 years stretch like allowed me to do all that. But yeah, I feel like it's the truth. It's my truth, and I listen to it and I feel as if I could listen to it 20 years from now and still feel the same.
Pick and choose which ones are going to be instrumental and have lyrics. So you have a couple of those every album.
Yeah.
So like how do you know when it's like?
Sometimes it just starts right out along, like right on the jump, you know. When I'm writing it, I'm like, okay, this is gonna be instrumental, because it all comes from like that first idea, that initial spark. You're like, oh, this is gonna be instrumental. Sometimes I set out to do it, but with Road to My Love, that was a song where it was like, I had no idea that was gonna be an instrumental. I was so pressed on having the lyrics. I thought that was gonna be a song where I was gonna lay it all down, it was all gonna fall into place. But I spent weeks trying to get the lyrics the way I wanted them, to get my vocal tone right, and I was like, this is just not working. Let me stop going against the grain. Let's let it breathe. Let's put some guitar on it. And the chord progression is super unique, and it's like unlike anything I really wrote before, and it's so emotional too, and in a beautiful way. And the guitar it sings more than my voice could have, and it carries more weight than the lyrics could have carried, you know. But there's some instrumentals where like I'm on the verge of writing lyrics too, you know, because I just want to give it a try and just be like, okay, well, at least I know that I tried.
Right.
Or at the end of it, I'd be like, wow, I'm glad I tried, because now it's going on the record.
Right, right. So then, so how'd you land on the lyrics? Because you wound up creating like a spoken word poetry type of situation. How'd you land there then?
You know, it was like I was adding in some vocal harmonies along like the musical. There's like a mellotron on the song, and it's like a symphony sort of vibe, and I wanted to add in some voice. I wanted to add in some vocal harmony, so I like laid some harmonies over top of each other. And I was like, well, it needs to do something after this. And then I was like, let's take the last lyric from the original verse that I wrote. Let's take the last line from that and just do a spoken word, because it really like ties in the album together, and it's a beautiful line, and I feel like it just sits so well on it. And I listened back to it the next day. I kept doing the car test. Like, I'm always sitting out in my truck with Bluetooth on, making different mixes, and to the point in which I was actually thinking about just bringing my computer in there, mixing it in real time. Because it's like, I think the car or truck is like the best way to mix.
To really hear
it's a really great way to mix. I didn't even realize that other bands do that, but some people actually do a whole audio setup with a mixer and everything so that they can mix their actual record in their car.
Right.
But
wow.
Yeah, I listened back.
Imagined.
Yeah, I listened back to it, and I was like, "This is actually, it's exceeded my expectations."
Yeah, I think each of your projects, at least from what I've heard, each of your projects have had moments of things you've never done before.
They do. You know, that's very true. That's very true. They all really do.
You're good for that.
And I always like to hear like people's honest reactions about like how my music sounds together, and I wanted to make an album that was cohesive, because I know that all my albums, like some of them have songs on them where it's more like a collection of songs, but I wanted to do a concept album. But like Change of Weather was an EP concept album that was like all deliberately like to sound the same as Quasar. Double Your Fun was more of like a collection of lots of songs I wrote, and it has a lot of instrumentals, so there's no concept to that. Universe Boundless was a concept, and then Rising was a concept too. But this one, I really want this is it's going to be like you're listening to like Dark Side of the Moon, where the song keeps playing, but you look at your iPhone and it changed, like it's a new name now, but it's still playing. It never stops,
and the chords progress into the next song.
Yeah, so that's how a lot of the album is. It like flows from beginning to end without ever stopping.
So it's a movie.
It's a movie essentially. Yeah.
Wow. What are you thinking of the visuals for this?
Well, I'm actually working on doing some music videos first. I figured I would get some music videos out. But for the whole album, like, I'm really into like cinematography and movies. I love film. And I would love to make a whole, work with a director and actually make a film out of it. And it would be like a 30-minute long film, because that's how long the album is. It's about 30 minutes. I think 32 minutes. And it would be like Pink Floyd, The Wall, or like Tommy, The Who, you know, something like that. It's like I have to, because I feel like just doing music videos wouldn't do it justice. Like, I have a lot of the scenes in my mind for certain songs, and like what instantly came to my mind like when I was writing them. Because sometimes I'll write a song and I actually put myself in a meditation almost. I'm like, this is where I want this to take me right now. I want to picture I'm in this vibe, and I sort of write the lyrics from that sometimes. And the album was sort of me getting into the scene and playing that part and then writing from that.
Wow. Okay.
So I feel like having people like actors and like just working at a set would be incredible, and having people that do it for a living, you know, that can really piece it together. I can tell them my concept and then just have them work their magic, you know.
You know, a lot of times when you say things like this, it's literally you manifesting them. Like you, and I've seen this with you. You're somebody who I've seen you say, you know, I really would love to, and then it happens.
I mean, that's literally how Thai Fest happened, and it's beautiful. It's a really beautiful world that we live in that regard. Like, if you stay focused, and like you can really make anything come true. And you know, don't even worry about if you don't have the money, because I tell you, like, if you work and just focusing on what you're trying to do, you'll find the ways to get there. You'll find the ways. You'll attract opportunities, and you'll also look at life differently. You'll see opportunities that were around you the whole time.
So now I want to frame this, right? You'll see opportunities that you have around on time. I got a few more about the album. Back to Reality. I feel like it's perfect time to ask about that song.
Coming back to reality. So that's a song. That is the song that's right after the Midwest, or touring up and down the East Coast. And I was like, let me try that. Let's see how that feels. And it was such a beautiful feeling, just going out every day and getting that experience, and really giving me a glimpse into it. And the caliber of the venues were so much better than what I was used to. When you get to the green room, they have a binder, and it's filled with menus of all the local restaurants, and they're like, pick whatever you want and we'll buy it for you. And then you eat that, and then you go on stage, and they're like, we have tea here, we have this. I'm like, wow, it's just, that was a really beautiful thing to just be able to experience that like every night.
Wow.
So it taught me a lot. I definitely learned a lot, and I kind of, just like with every experience in life, I took the things I liked, and then I kind of saw the qualities I didn't like, and then I thought about ways that I could implement those changes in the future when I do my own tour for Mine Parade.
So now, right, you'll see opportunities that you have around on time. I got a few more about the album. Back to Reality. I feel like it's perfect time to ask about that song.
Coming back to reality. So that's a song. That is the song that's right after A Billion Balloons.
Yes, it is.
And it's an instrumental song. It's a really quick instrumental, actually. And it goes right into it. And A Billion Balloons is about a song that kind of really takes you somewhere mentally. It takes you to a place that you really can't go to in the real world. You can, but it's not really practical if you listen to the lyrics. So,
yes, it's hard to float that way.
Yeah. So it brings you back to reality. It's coming back to reality, and it gears you into the next song, which you have to be in reality. It's a sort of experience.
Really? Why was that important to go to? Right? Because you could have did this whole album out of this world in a dream. What made you bring it back?
I could, but it was also relating with my life journey. So I like a lot of the lyrics, especially towards the end of the album.
Yes.
They correlate with the changes that I've gone through in my life with recently, and just,
Hence Life. Because Life is a song on the album. That's exactly why I made that's, yes.
I almost forgot about that.
I didn't.
That's so funny. No. The funny thing is, the song was originally called Life. Is one of those songs that, like, I think more than anything, it's like a song that's really just about like waking up and being like, okay, do it. The whole world's waiting for you. Like, do what you're supposed to do. Do what sets your soul on fire. Do whatever makes you really passionate. And then towards the end of Life, the end of the song Life, there's the last song on the album is called Watch It Roll. And that's like, okay, we got to the end. We've been out of this world. We're back. You gained so much from this journey. You felt how good it can feel having everything you want. Now you're returning back, and you realize what was really important the whole time. It wasn't about anything you thought. It wasn't about what people think of you. It wasn't really about what you think about yourself. It was just about, just watching it roll. Just like understand that nothing even matters at this point. Just accept it, and just sort of love to appreciate it, the flow, because you're back in this beautiful world where there's a whole lot of amazing stuff that can happen and so much beautiful potential. And it's like also like, no matter what setbacks you had, no matter what you went through, no matter what people said about you, no matter what you put yourself through, you're back. Like just be grateful to be alive.
Wow.
You overcame whatever it was.
Musically,
you overcame whatever it was.
Musically and sonically, your focus is very uplifting and elevating. Is that intentional?
Thank you. It's really not. It's really just like, just sort of where it comes from. Like it would be hard for me to like get into a negative mood, because I really try to be positive in life.
Wow.
Like I listen to lots of music, and like some of the music I listen to has darker lyrics, some of it has more uplifting, but overall I like the music with the more uplifting lyrics. You know, I think in this lifetime it's easier for people to focus on the problems because there's lots of things always going wrong, you know, but so you have to go the extra mile to be a happy person. You have to go the extra mile to wake up and say, this is gonna be a good day. I'm gonna do everything I set out to do. So I have so much emphasis on doing that because it just affects my workflow in such a wonderful way. It feels good laughing, it feels good being joyful, you know. And a lot of my favorite artists like the Grateful Dead and Bob Marley and the Beatles, they just convey that love too, but they also have, well, like the Beatles and the Grateful Dead, they also have like psychedelic songs.
Yes.
And I love that. So I embrace just like feel good and fantasy, psychedelic. You know?
And now that one of the things I have to ask you, because I know your musical experience and prowess, I don't want to say changed, but you made an effort to explore different things. Because I know your musical experience and prowess, I don't want to say changed, but you made an effort to explore different things as far as what you were receiving musically within the last year. Like you started to explore just different stuff. Yeah. Right? How has that affected the music you create, or has that affected the music you create?
Well, I mean, you know, just new experiences definitely affect it. I think like it's kind of vague, you know. I'm like trying to think like what has changed it. Like, I don't know. What was the question again?
The experiencing new music and seeking it. Because like I remember me and you had a conversation before. You were like, listen, I kind of wanted to. You started to dive into different
types of artists. So get this. So this year I've been just like so thrilled with all the music I found. Like I've been just in awe. Like there's music that I listen to. Like I'm at the point now where like I consider like my favorite albums as like almost like a really good friend, and I listen to them and they're there with me, and like I cook with them on, I get ready with them on, I shower with them on, do whatever, you know. It's like they're so good and they just take me somewhere. And one band in particular right now is My Morning Jacket. They have an album called It Still Moves, and I think it came out in 2003, and it's like it's an album I can never get tired of. Really? It's my favorite album right now. I love it, and that's been the kick I've been on recently. Before that I was getting into Beck, and it was my first time ever listening to Beck, and it was an album that came out in like early 2000s. It was produced so well and I just loved it. And before that I think I was into Stereolab. Stereolab's another huge favorite of mine. In like feeling how good that, and Radiohead. Yes. Feeling how that music takes me somewhere. Yes. And the feeling that it gives me, it's like the feeling that I get like when I'm having fun, just like outside, feeling the breeze, you know, just taking in life and feeling that music too. It inspires me because that's what I want my music to do for people. Right. So like I realize it's all about the, you know, about the experience you have. Just
to be clear, you know, understanding that thought of going from 70s and 60s music to finding the 2000s, because I mean you have had this conversation. He was like, it's cool up and I felt like he was like, you know what, I'm gonna dive in to it. Like and I'll see that there are songs that I do like. There are things that I do love.
It took me a while. I was not even conscious of like new music until 2018. Not even conscious of like what was going on. I was still stuck in the 60s and 70s. Yes. It's easy to, because it's just so good. Yes. You know, it's like you get high on that music, and like some people are just like never gonna come off of it no matter what. It's like, and I felt like that was how I was. And then I was like, you know what, I had some musician friends that I trusted their judgment, and they're like, Ty, listen to this band, they're called Krongdon. Listen to this band, this is called Hiatus Coyote. Listen to this band, they're called Tame Impala. Listen to this is MGMT. And I'm listening to them like, they're inspired by the same shit that I'm inspired by. Like, this is really cool. I love this. And the fact that it's happening today and it sounds more refined and sounds like even sonically like more enhanced with the new technology. Not too enhanced though, because a lot of these artists use the old equipment
on purpose.
Yeah, the same way that I do it too. Yeah. So I just have such an appreciation. I think at this point I think I have an appreciation that's equal to the new music and the older music. Right. Because its impact on me has been so profound. That is awesome. You know, and that doesn't lie.
Yes, that is awesome.
And I feel like people have a lot of time to sit and think about lyrics and like especially from the 60s and 70s, it's like, okay, well, this was already sang about, we don't have to sing about this again. It really allows you to think about things like, this is good, but what could we do to make it different and more timeless?
Okay. Now, just one more question. Mind Parade.
Yeah.
Now, I asked you about the most challenging moments. What was the most gratifying moment? Just one more question. Mind Parade.
Yeah.
Now, I asked you about the most challenging moments. What was the most gratifying moment?
The most gratifying moment was 2 weeks ago. I'm telling you, I was trying my best to get the final vocal take, the final vocal performance for Mind Parade. I literally finished it like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I think it was 2 weeks ago. And the 3 days leading up to that were so stressful because I was like trying to get it the absolute best. And I went right back to the drawing board. So I focused on just delivering a performance of it. And I practiced it. And then one night I did I think I got it in like the third take. And I got it and I was so happy. And I was like, okay, tomorrow I'm going to spend the whole next day buttoning up everything, bouncing them off as wave files. I'll master everything. But it was that night, even before I did all of that, I just sat down and I was like, I deserve to listen to this album from beginning to end because I'm like just busting my ass on it right now. And I'm also like really happy with what I just did because getting that vocal track, like I was like jumping with joy. I was like so seriously so happy because I finally got the take in that I've always wanted. And I just remember sitting there and being like listening it from beginning to end and being like, wow, that was, I said I played all the instruments on it, mixed and mastered it, and now I'm sitting down here being like, I didn't know how to do mixing or mastering when I started this album, and now here I am and I'm sitting on my masterpiece, and I felt like as if this piece of music is what my identity is, because it is me. So I think it was like one of those moments. It was a gratifying moment. I felt so proud, but it was also like, like this is who I am. This is like, this music is me.
Gosh, wow.
It was like, that was a moment where I really felt a true identity, like in a true connection to what I'm creating and being like, having that perspective, just being like, this is me. This is what I want people to see me as. This is what I want people to think of when they think of me. That was that album. That was sort of that way. I feel like it was just that album for me. Just Mind Parade. Just checked off all the boxes for me, and the final result. And I don't know. It was gratifying.
That is beautiful.
Very gratifying. And I made that decision. I was like, you know what? No matter what, at this point in my life, this is me. This album, I'm so proud of it.
Yes. Yes. Listen, what I'll say,
I feel like it's a defining album. If I had one album that I made that I want to define me, it's like that one. I want people to listen to that one.
Yes.
I think that's who I am.
Here's what I think, right? If there's an album that's your best friend, right? Like you said, right? And getting to know Ty, being friends with Ty, I like to think that we're friends. Mind Parade's going to be a friend of mine. Mind Parade,
I think it is. I know you're going to love it. I know you're going to love it. It is so different than any of my other work. It's so different. Yes, it's so different. Rising was like, I love Rising. It's like the difference was that I was using GarageBand. And now there's nothing wrong with recording on GarageBand. I think there's like some famous artists that might have recorded some songs on GarageBand. It's great, and it's what actually got me into recording. I've been using it since I was a kid, and like it comes free on the Mac, it comes free on the phone, and I loved it. But I completely can say that I kind of broke it. Like I just overdid it. Like it stopped working well because I was doing way too much on it, and that was a kind of stressful situation because it was like I felt like I was on the verge of losing everything I worked on because it was like glitching really bad. And that's nothing against GarageBand. I just don't think that it's meant to have like hundreds of tracks in one project, Yeah. So I was limited in that regard, but everyone that listens to it, especially musicians, and it was so surprising to me. They say, Ty, I love the way you mix and master this. They say it's mixed so well. They like, everyone always compliments me on that, and I'm like, I find that so funny because it's virtually like it's just GarageBand. Like all the other albums, I went to nice studios and used hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of vintage gear. And then the one that I record out of my basement, I really get a lot of genuine love from that, and it means so much to me because like a lot of love went into it, and I didn't know if it was going to translate well in the sonic world, but it did, and it's amazing.
Yes.
It was a journey. That was amazing.
It's an awesome album.
Thank you. That was amazing.
It's an awesome album.
Thank you.
And I'm looking forward to this Mind Parade album myself.
Me too. And we're getting so close to it. And get this. So my next show is August 21st at the Delaware Art Museum. And I'm going to be selling CDs there of Mind Parade. Mind Parade will be on CDs. There'll be a limited number of them. And I'm going to actually be selling them. That's a little bit over a week before the album drops. So if you come to that show, you can buy Mind Parade and listen to it before the rest of the world hears it. You actually get to own it. You get to have the actual CD.
Limited edition.
And it's only for this show. It's only for this show. That's the only show that I have before that. Wow. And so it's going to be awesome to like play some of the new songs, and then people can go home and listen to it and have the actual CD, and they'll know that like that was the first ever CD ever made of Mind Parade.
Wow.
First ever CD. Yeah, so I think that's really special.
Performance based.
My band is totally performance based, but we create in the moment. So It's like the people I play with are really special because of that. Like I really do try to find like the artists, like the musicians that really that can create on stage with me, because that's sort of what I look, but also play the songs completely note for note. So I always, sometimes right before the show or like a week before, I'll come up with a new composition of a song. The songs are always changing live, so I have musicians that work with me that can keep up with all of my new arrangements and all of that stuff, so it's like it just shows like I'm so creative, and even when I take it to the stage, there is some level of like, well, you want to make sure you can still keep it tight, but if you're working with the right people, they can perform for you, and they can handle it, because I know I can adapt very quickly, and I always trust that the musicians I have on the stage with me can too.
Yes.
And there's like a vulnerability that you get there too, and I think that's special when if you have it all down to a science, then you're not coming from a place of music. You're coming just from a performance. But I like to be so locked in and on my toes and listening to myself and making sure that I am like just very good in that receptive state, because it keeps me sharp. And I think when you put a lot of emphasis on being really good and creating in the moment, and then a lot of emphasis on the performance as well, equally, it creates just a much more beautiful thing. And things happen naturally. You don't have to stage things. Things just happen, but it's all as a result of like really being on top of what you're trying to do, and it's really fun to do that, to leave a little bit of space, a little bit of gray area, I guess, a little bit of area where you're like, I don't know what's going to happen here. Let's see what happens. But we're going to take it as serious as we can, though.
Yes, that's where you let God in. That
exactly.
Little space for God to come in there and do his thing.
Yeah, there's an unseen power, it's God, universe, source. I look at it as a spiritual thing. It's completely spiritual for me. I don't look at it as anything else, I know it's a divine energy. So I try to... I'm grateful that I'm a music vessel. I'm grateful that I'm a student of music. I'm glad that since I was a young kid, that was what I gravitated towards, and there was no getting out of it. I'm glad that was like always my burning desire, and I don't take that for granted. So I'm like honor it every day as much as I can, with listening, with practicing, with doing the best I can, because it's real. It's like you do get like, when you're really on top of it, things work out better than you could ever imagine. You might sing a version of a song in a way that you never could have like consciously devised, but it comes out just as a result of you knowing who you are as an artist and just staying on top of your practice and trying to do your best on stage.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
There's so many components, but it's like it all comes down to just work, just really doing that, but also treating it spiritually, treating it as like, okay, this is divine, this is sacred, this is music, and it's, when it hits, you feel no pain, as Bob Marley would say.
Yes.
And you don't want to mess around with it too much. You want to make sure it's really true and really honest, but also performance based. You want it to be good. You want to have fun with it. You want to inspire people. You want to inspire yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. So a lot of cogs, or like a lot of variables. When you go out on stage, all you think about is like, you're just in it. I'm just in it. Like once I go out, it's like when a sports player goes out on the field. Mm-hmm. They might have a million things going on in their mind before that about like throwing the ball, catching it, the whole science behind that. But once you go out there, you're not thinking. You're just in flow. And it's that one moment where your mind shuts off and you just work off of instinct and doing the best you can. But just staying present and appreciating it. Staying present and carrying the rhythm and really getting into it on a real life level and a spiritual level. It's like a thing right in between, balance right in between.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for this conversation, sir.
Wow, thank you.